about them Irish?
I can't take it anymore. I need a national championship.
This is the Four Horsemen Podcast.
California love. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. USC sucks. They really suck. Go Irish, baby, California. The city of losers.
The Jewel Shillelagh is staying home where it belongs at the University of Notre Dame. Tim, we did it. We beat Southern Cal. It could possibly be the last game in the rivalry. 34-24, and I don't really think the scoreline reflects necessarily how the game should have went. It was a very exciting game, very back and forth. Notre Dame let them stay in it. At halftime, I had tweeted with the podcast account, just clear up the sloppiness on offense and you will run away from them, because they could not stop a nosebleed running on them. So That's what we saw. Notre Dame was the better team. They left a lot of points on the board, but they get the job done, beating their rival, beating them fairly convincingly, and giving a certain player a Heisman moment in the process. So, Tim, you were there. Why don't you tell the audience what your experience was like with this 96th edition of the Jewel Shillelagh?
The only thing wetter than the stadium was my panties watching us destroy them like that. It was very fun. It didn't start raining till about like 6-ish, 6:30. And it came hard and quick. Some lightning, thunder in the area. I wasn't sure if we were going to get a weather delay. We did not. It was all good. I did want to update the listeners. I said I had 3 cases of Labatt Blue and I wasn't bringing any back and I was drinking them all. I lived by that promise. I drank every one of those with some help. I didn't drink 70-plus beers, and I did the bottle cap count at the end of the night. It was well beyond 30. So, go me.
Well done.
I did my job. Speaking of someone else that did their job, shout out to our boy Mason Plummer for, you may have seen the videos of a guy talking an egregious amount of shit to the USC players walking off the field through the visitor tunnel. That's our boy Mason right there, giving them the V down right in their face. Absolute legend. Well done, Mason. You do the assignment. You did it well. And last part, I want to say this is kind of a thing. I host my tailgate every week. That was the last one we did for the season. At least the one I'm at. They'll still be doing it, just not without me. Unless someone can trick me to go to the Navy game. I probably don't want to go, but we do a lot to put that together. We spend a lot of money out of our pockets. We feed y'all. We give y'all drinks when we tell you to bring your own beer and you don't. We still do it. A lot of people pitch in. A lot of people are great. But there's always one that ruins it for everyone. I brought out my shillelagh that's been in the family for a little bit, and I just put it on the table as like an emblem, decoration, if you will. People are picking it up and dicking around with it. That's fine. But come the end of the game, the shillelagh is gone. So someone picked it up and walked off with it, or just lost it, or I don't know what happened, but they can't find it. So, moral of the story, respect people's shit. Like, what's wrong with you people? Also, the one girl, she walks up to Dr. A, was like, do you have any seltzers? You're like, I don't see any seltzers. And she's like, oh, I don't think we had any, but did you bring some? She's like, no, I expected someone to have seltzers at this tailgate. Like, presumptuous ass bitch. All right. Like, bring your own shit. But the tailgate was a lot of fun. Louise showed up. Brandon Fry showed up. Everyone we wanted to that was there showed up. Had a blast. Did the toast. Did the thing. Get in the stadium. It was chaos. This is the hardest it was to get into the stadium I've had, because they didn't open the gates until 6:45 because of lightning, and kickoff was at 7:30. So they like you to get into the stadium at 6. Like, people start kind of filing in. So everyone was going at once. So it was the longest I've had to wait in line to get inside the stadium. And it was still only like 5-10 minutes, but it was like, are we gonna make it kind of thought. Which did give me a chance to make sure I got past that 30 beer threshold, because I pounded 2 in the line. Yeah, and that was it. Harold looked great. He had a cover on his cap to keep it from dry. It looked much like a USC Trojan, if you will. The little thing to keep your head warm and dry. So it was a lot of fun. Had a blast at the game. Did some push-ups. The usual stuff. Way to go, Irish. Way to keep my life intact.
Well, when the game started, it looked like it was going to be kind of a first defense to stop somebody wins kind of game. But the defense settled in. And when the Irish defense gave up points, largely off the back of like broken plays on that first drive where they just let a wide receiver be open because they mixed up a substitution, or penalties. Some deserved. At least one was egregiously called on us. So really impressed by the defense. I think there was a big question as to if this defensive improvement is real or not, or if it was a result of playing North Carolina State and Purdue and et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's real. I think this is probably the best offense in the country, and we did a good job of slowing them down, creating turnovers, creating pressure, and we just dominated them in the trenches. I mean, I don't think the weather was any help to USC, but we had to play in it too, and that just suited us more. We were better, we were faster, just the whole game. And good teams win, great teams cover. We ended up covering. NBC showed before, I think the line was 8.5 or 9.5. We did our predictions, it was 9.5. Some of you may have got your bookie at 10.5. That's on you. I think Notre Dame covered a line that we all thought was high. I mean, every one of us on the show, you, myself, and Steve.
And it should have been more.
And it should have been more. Yeah, we all took USC to cover, and Buck, of course, took USC to win outright, and none of that happened.
Silly goose.
I think Notre Dame is a lot better than even we thought, and that's really encouraging. Offense was the passing game was a little rough. I think CJ Carr's get maybe a little too much criticism for it.
It was really wet.
It was wet.
Really wet.
And like he missed some throws, yeah, fair enough. The interception in the end zone is like the most egregious one. I get what he's trying to do. I like that he does that up until the point of the final throw. Like, yeah, do your scramble, try to get open, but and you could see on the video replay, he wasn't open. You just got to get rid of that. But that's a freshman quarterback for you. Still very proud of him. He's still playing excellently this season. So from my perspective, I had a lot of fun watching it. Back and forth game. Got through a lot of Trojan blood on this day. Was really worried the game wasn't going to happen. Did that ever occur to you and the other folks there at Notre Dame?
So it was discussed in the parking lot, and they were like, "What happens if they don't play the game tonight? They play Sunday?" And I was like, "No, this is not NASCAR. They're playing that shit tonight." It was going to get played that night. I don't care if it got started at 11 o'clock at night. That game was happening that night. There was no way that they were going to do everything again the next day and try and scramble. They were just going to delay it for just like we did. Well, I guess it's never been delayed from the start like that. For like a 3-hour rain delay start, but they totally would have done that. I know when we played USF on my 21st birthday, that was 2011, and it sucked. They had that like 3-hour lightning delay. I just remember the delay. I don't remember the end of the game for obvious reasons. But yeah, the game was getting played that night. One thing that USC did to combat the rain very early was they won the coin flip, and they elected to receive first. That was a smart move by Lincoln Riley. The other smart move that he did to beat the rain and the crowd noise and the environment going on was the hurry-up offense. Notre Dame was, and we've already had defensive issues, so not having that extra time to get the play right on defense favored them, especially that first drive. It also took the crowd out of the game a little bit because the crowd didn't have time to start being loud to really interrupt stuff because by the time the crowd started making noise sometimes, the ball was already snapped. After that first drive, though, the crowd kind of picked up on it and started getting louder earlier before they were cued to do so by the Jumbotron. So, well, good on us.
Yeah, it was a huge week for the crowd, I thought. It sounded great on television. It felt electric. You could tell it was a heated version of this rivalry. Big thing for recruits as well. I mean, not to get too into it, but it was a loaded weekend for recruiting talent in the 27 and 28 classes. A lot of good groundwork may have been laid there, including some 5-star prospects that might be coming to Notre Dame, hopefully. So it was just an all-around great game. I thought we played very admirably. I thought the offensive line had their best game. Like, we dominated USC on the line of scrimmage. It was outrageous. Jadarian Price, yet again, with a big, timely kickoff return for a touchdown after a USC score.
That was so dope.
We've seen that, Tim. You and I, our first time meeting up was at that USC game in 2023 where Jadarian Price kind of ices the game with his kick return. So you see that again. It's just phenomenal. You know what's funny about that is, I'm watching on a little bit of a delay, and I missed a play, so I went on the Score app just to sort of see what I had missed. And it got the score wrong because USC had gone up 24-21, and my score said 31-21 USC. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense unless Notre Dame fumbles the kick return. So it looked like somebody had scored, but I wasn't sure if the app was broken. So I was watching it thinking like, oh shit, are we gonna turn the ball over here and go down 10? And of course it was just the app had made a mistake because USC kicked off and we returned it for a touchdown. Their internal system registered that as a USC touchdown. So I'm watching it, waiting for the fumble, and he's running, and I'm like, guys, I don't think he's going to fumble the ball. And then he scores a touchdown. So I had it spoiled a little bit, but still exciting to watch.
By the way,
I thought Jeremiah Love.
As soon as he broke that tackle at the 16-yard line, I slapped the person next to me. Sorry, Mandy. I slapped the person next to me like, he's going to score. I saw long before anyone else did because I saw that I'm really good at seeing when someone's going to run one back. And I did the same thing with Tyree against Wisconsin and Chicago, and I saw that one. I was like, he's going to run it back. I got so excited.
Tim, is it just me, or we're returning a lot more special teams touchdowns than we ever have before? Like, I don't remember a kickoff return from a touchdown in the Brian Kelly era at all.
It was, who was before Biaggi? Because he was really good at his job, too.
Yeah, I forget his name. He was very good, too. And there was that Wisconsin one was technically Kelly's team. But, like, I don't remember punt returns, kick returns for touchdowns much as a Notre Dame fan. And it feels like we're getting 2 or 3 a year in big moments. We had it in Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. We had it against USC 2 years ago. We had it USC this year. It's just really timely stuff from the special teams.
And good punt returns, too. They're not all home runs. They're not taking them all the way to the house, but they are getting 30 yards on some of these things.
We'll phase on, right? That's just his shiftiness. Yeah. No, they're doing great. The special teams is better than it's ever been, minus the kicking.
Well, there we go. But it brings us to our next point, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, I'm willing to forgive him, given the weather conditions and the fact that he's been struggling with an injury. However, am I wrong to think that the kicker last year also missed a lot of games due to an injury? It seems to me this is 2 years in a row we've gone to the portal, and we haven't had an available kicker. And, it didn't matter in the end, especially because our kicker in the playoffs last year had a great playoff run for us. So I'm not complaining about him or his performance. But it just feels like we're not getting a lot out of these kickers that we bring in.
Nope.
And because of his injury and because of the weather, I'll forgive it. But, Noah Burnett, we need a little more going forward. What are your thoughts on that, Tim?
I'm a Bills fan. I don't need this to be both my teams. I just need one of y'all to suck at kicking, not both. It's not good. Like, it is, like, same thing happened last year, and the thing about it is it actually happened the year before that, but no one really remembers it with Spencer Schrader. He was hurt for some of that year, too, and he was not consistent ever. So, it's not great. The dropped hold against A&M was, that is what it is. Everything since then in the kicking game it's not great. It's, you can't be this special on special teams and so unspecial in the one thing that special teams can do, and that's consistently score points. Who has the most points in Notre Dame's history? A kicker. It was Yoon, I believe. I think he still holds that record. And the fact that our kickers are scoring less than, I feel like, 30 points a year in the last 3 years, I could be making that up, but that's what it feels like. It's not good. It's really not good. Yeah,
it's a potential area for concern. I'm not willing to declare it a state of emergency.
It's a 5-star alarm fire. Because if for whatever reason...
Well, Burnett's been good the rest of the season, though, in my memory.
When?
He's made kicks all year.
When? He made a 48-yarder that sounded like he just took a wet fart on the ball. There was no impact off that ball. He is hurt, I'll give him that. But, like, when he kicked that, there's not a single person that was watching that live that thought that ball was going in.
Yeah, it was a bad
against
kick.
NC State.
Yeah. I believe in special teamers in honor of P-Wagon. So it'll be something to monitor for the rest of the season because obviously that's what can determine a game. And when you get to the playoffs, we played in a couple one-score games, so we know what it's like.
We've lost by a point because of an unsuccessful point-after attempt, too. Just want to remind everyone.
That's on the holder who's been terrorizing me for 4 years now. So
There was a year where he terrorized you at not beating Michigan at Alabama, too.
Exactly. Yeah, no, he's terrorized us every year, actually, now that I think about it.
I do love Buckner, though.
I do, but also, man, that A&M. Okay, Horseman?
So we do have Jeremiah Love, and if it's not for his 260-plus all-around yards gained, it's absolutely for his post-game celebration. If you have not seen it, Jeremiah Love does a Fortnite-like celebration, and he just starts humping the ground in the end zone. It was fantastic.
Yeah, definitely one. I think Jadarian Price has got to be one as well for the kickoff return. Just
for sure.
What a beast. What an absolute beast he is. Another one I want to put out there, he's injured now, but I thought he had a hell of a performance, was Billy Schrouth. Just clogged up that left side of the line, gave Jeremiah Love and Jadarian Price all the space in the world to run. He gets hurt, comes back, finishes the game, and then it turns out he's suffered a fairly significant injury that's going to keep him out 3 to 4 weeks. So
now, I don't know what the injury is, but I heard it is a possible bone contusion, which is basically a bone bruise for anyone that doesn't know what that is. It's not a broken bone. It's a bruise that's on your bone. It hurts like hell. And if you don't need to play, you don't need to risk further injury, keep him off till postseason.
Right. So what do you think for the last one?
The last one, I'm going to follow very close to you, as close as I possibly could be, and pick Joe Otting. Because he came in and he did his job very, very well. He filled in for Ashton Craig like Ashton Craig was still there. Couldn't tell that we had a backup center in there. He had some pancakes. He had some great, perfect snaps all game in the water. And not only that, of all the offensive linemen, he's the only one to record a tackle on defense.
Well, speaking of defense, I think Leonard Moore needs a shout out. The defense played great. He locked down the best wide receiver in the country.
He did, and he did it from the slot.
He did it from the slot. Mekhi Lemon had 80 total yards, I think, off 3 receptions. Most of that was a chunk play that Leonard Moore wasn't on him for. Leonard Moore, I think, if I recall PFF stat, like he had held the passer rating like well below 60 whenever he was targeted against Lemon. He's just truly elite. In a lot of ways, Benjamin Morrison was. I feel like he might be a little quicker, and that's scary. I think we're going to have him for one more year, and he's going to be a top 5, top 10 pick. And if he isn't, it's because of an injury or because the NFL just hates the golden helmet when they scout. I don't know what it is.
Size a little bit. Because Benny Mose, they wanted him to be a little bit bigger of a corner for more of a tackle presence. That was why he fell as far as he did. Could see the same thing happen to Leonard Moore. The injury too, but it's more the size. Like they want. I don't know why either, because it's like the NFL is such a pass-heavy world. I don't know why you care about a cornerback that's not sized enough to make a one-on-one tackle when you should never be doing that.
Can I make a Heisman case?
You sure can.
He went under the radar, so he's not getting enough love, but it's starting to change this week. Pun not intended there. Here's my campaign and argument in favor of Jeremiah Love, and I want everyone listening to regurgitate basically this step by step, because this is how you build a media narrative, and a media narrative is how you win a Heisman. Statistically, Jeremiah Love is second in the country in touchdowns. He is splitting reps with Jadarian Price, who is third in the country in total touchdowns. That is obscene. He is first in the Power 4 in all-purpose yards as a running back who's also gotten time as a receiver. And he's doing this, again, with Jadarian Price splitting reps with him. That is not a negative. He has the statistical argument to be a Heisman with touchdowns and all-purpose yards. Those are very legitimate statistical categories in which a Heisman can be won. He is doing it with the contextual factor that Jadarian Price is taking snaps from him. That's crazy. That is an argument in favor of Jeremiah Love being the Heisman, not against it. So make sure to repackage and reframe that criticism that way. Third, eye test. He's the most electric athlete in the country. He hurdles people every week. He terrifies defenses. I'm all aboard the J Love hype train. He represents everything that a Heisman winner should. He is on a national brand that's if things go well, we'll be headed to the playoff, and he has an opportunity to pad some stats. And, by the way, he's got his Heisman moment. He ran for 230 yards plus more all-purpose yards and a touchdown against a bitter rival in a must-win game. Player of the week, by the way, from the AP. Jeremiah Love is a legitimate Heisman contender, and we as a fan base really need to rally behind that.
The only thing he could do is watch some of Scadaboo's tape for the Giants, how Scadaboo always just dives head first, like the Simpsons character jumping through the bus window first with his head. Because maybe if he did that, his helmet would stay on more because there's more impact holding it down because his helmet comes off way too much. I think it's people just getting messed with after the play, which we did at least once.
Well, he did snap at somebody, but the ref saw it, and the ref didn't call it. And the reason the ref didn't call it to me felt pretty obvious, because the ref heard and saw the USC player instigate verbally. You could see that they were trying to get under Jeremiah Love's skin. So when I saw USC fans complaining about that, I'm like, the ref is right there. He hears what your guy said, and he clearly instigated it. Shouldn't have hit him, and Love was really good to not let out any more frustrations afterwards. Yeah. So I see your point.
No, there was one play where we tackled the receiver, and then someone running by just got his fingertip on his helmet, and his helmet came off. Like, he has to sit on a play because they ripped his helmet off. That's not fair. How do you think Jeremiah's helmet is coming off after every play? You think he's taking it off without his hands? No. Everyone's doing the same thing. You're trying to get a tactical advantage all the time. If you don't get caught, it's not cheating. Stop crying.
What a lineage of running backs we've had. I didn't think we would see somebody top Audric Estime in many years, never mind in a year.
Every year I feel like we say the same thing, though. Like we said it with Kyron, we said it with 34 Trucking.
And that's the lineage, right? We've gone from Kyron to Audric to Jeremiah / Jadarian Price. If Jeremiah Love didn't exist, we would be talking about Price as if he was as good as those other two guys.
Yeah.
So it's a great lineage. Running back U is becoming a thing. You're going to see that, I think, bear out in future with top recruits starting to come here now. Tim, before we leave the USC conversation, is there anything else you'd like to say? Because there's some head coaching openings that I would like to briefly address before we finish.
Yeah, there's a specific someone that plays defensive back for Notre Dame that got burned quite a bit. And it is, as the announcer said on the broadcast, feast or famine. Nothing in between, because it is feast or famine with nothing in between. I don't understand why you can't play it that hard and that well all the time. You got to wait till you get beat 5-6 times in a row before you come up and make a play. At least you come back and make the play. But damn, kid, come on.
To be fair, he's up against one of the better receivers in the country in Jacoby Lane.
It doesn't matter. It's every time he comes up against someone that's good, you have to expect that from him? No. I expect better.
But we haven't got D-line pressure all year, and it doesn't matter if you're the best corner in the country. You're eventually going to give up some space with enough time.
It's not eventually. It's pretty consistent.
He is, but he's also making massive plays, right? Big interceptions, big pass deflections. He's a mental warrior. I like Christian Gray. I know he's inconsistent with his play. I'm not enough of a film or coach expert to give reasons why. I'd like to see somebody do that.
I just don't have the patience.
Fair enough. Marcus Freeman's not leaving, folks. Report earlier that Florida wanted him to be their top choice. They gave him a call. He immediately told them no. Not a surprise. Notre Dame is the best coaching job in the country, I believe, for legacy reasons.
Do you want to talk about that tweet that you sent out about the best coaching positions available that are out there? I'll pull it up
that are
if you want.
Currently available? Yeah, we could. Yeah, because we had a disagreement as a group. So yeah, you could remind everyone what's open. Freeman's been linked with Florida and Penn State, but neither of those things are going to happen. I have no fear. People talk, well, Ohio State. They make that assumption because he's an alum. I don't think he would leave for Ohio State if the money was there, to be honest with you. I think he's a Notre Dame guy through and through. I understand that would be the only college that he'd probably leave for, but I don't see that happening. And if Ryan Day were to leave, I think Brian Hartline's probably their guy. So
I don't know. I think they would definitely make a hard push for Marcus if they ever lost Ryan Day for whatever reason.
Well, that could be true. I also don't think Ryan Day's going anywhere.
No.
Unless he loses to Michigan.
Well, then he just has to win a national championship again to save his job.
He
can only do it so many times.
Yeah.
But my list was Florida State, then Florida, then Auburn, then LSU, then Ole Miss, then Oklahoma State, then Penn State, then Wisconsin. Penn State sucks. There's nothing good there.
They have so many resources. There's so much money at Penn State.
Sure. There's so much money everywhere else, too. Who cares if you have money? You live in the middle of a valley surrounded by mountains. It's just this little
right, because
town
Oxford,
in the middle of
Mississippi because Oxford, Mississippi is known to be a great hub of thriving metropolis.
You know what they have there? They have some really hot chicks. Way more than Penn State does. SEC
Well,
territory. Florida State, you got the champ. Florida, you got the swamp. Auburn, your coach, you literally had John Heisman as your coach. Granted, it was the 1800s, 1890s, but whatever. LSU, exciting. Ole Miss is somewhat exciting. Oklahoma State, they have the T-shirt thing going on right now. Penn State has nothing.
That is the only thing Oklahoma State has going on right
It's
now.
something.
Is that
It's better than Penn State.
Penn State, okay, they are one of the most historic programs in college football.
Historically garbage.
They are in the Big Ten, which is a financial cow. They have a massive alumni base, so there's massive NIL support. They have a much easier time getting the playoff than some of these SEC teams do because the Big Ten is easier.
Because they don't play anyone, right.
They have a good state to recruit in. Pennsylvania is great. They also have great access to New Jersey, and they always do well in Maryland and the DMV area. I think Penn State is second. So my list is LSU 1, Penn State 2, and then I tied Florida and Florida State. I think there's arguments for both. I think them and Penn State, you could argue that they're all kind of tied, but that's a top tier. Then I have Auburn. Auburn has not been anything in years. You're stuck in Alabama where your rival is going to get all the best in-state talent. I think Auburn, being a historic program, is still a good job. They're not on that same tier for me. Then I have Ole Miss and Wisconsin.
Program without good coaches. They haven't had a good coach there. I don't even know how long. They had Cam Newton, and he kind of carried them with his Cam Newton abilities. They have not had a good coach there. So that's probably John Heisman.
Gus Malzahn did well and won them a national championship. Or, no, they lost the national championship to Florida State that year. But, yeah, so I got Ole Miss and Wisconsin next for various reasons. I think Wisconsin's actually like a more historic program where you can get further because we're only like 3 years removed from Wisconsin being the second best team in the Big Ten. They were very much a consistent contender in the Big Ten. However, Ole Miss has been elevated by Lane Kiffin, and I think if you take over the Ole Miss job, you're in a much better spot than if you take over the Wisconsin job. That's going to be a big rebuild. So I got Ole Miss above Wisconsin. Then last for me is Oklahoma State. They're in the Big 12. They're not going to be able to financially compete with anybody in 20 years. And Steve, I'll speak for him, he's got LSU, Florida State, Florida, Penn State, Ole Miss, Wisconsin, Auburn, Oklahoma State. So
why did you do his accent?
I can't do it like you can.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to try because my throat's a little sore after yelling all weekend. Yeah, you're wrong. I'm right. That's fine.
Look, I hate Penn State too, but you're just
I don't hate
too
Penn
harsh
State.
on them.
It's the crazy thing. I think they're very annoying. I never hated Penn State. I always just thought it was a shitty place to live, to play, to do anything. It is literally in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. There's nowhere in the world of Pennsylvania where you can be more middle of nowhere.
How far are they from Philadelphia?
Literally in between Philadelphia and in between Pittsburgh. In the middle of nowhere, surrounded by mountains and trees and state forests. You like nature? That's where you go. If you want to go on a hike every day, good for you. If you want to go fight a bear, go for it. There's nothing else there. Besides a statue to a man that won a bunch of games and shit his pants on the sidelines and covered up a sex scandal.
I'll give you this because I looked it up. It's over a 3-hour drive. So I was going to say, if it's like 90 minutes like Notre Dame is to Chicago, I don't want to hear it.
Both.
Yeah, so that's not ideal. I get that. I don't know if that's enough to really determine a college football job's value overall. I think there's a lot of factors there. But I see what you're saying. Why Florida State above Florida? I know we have one listener who might find that debate interesting.
I just think that the Florida State and game day environment at home, it cannot be topped. The
Swamp's pretty good too.
Well, you saw it week 1. They beat Alabama, and there's no reason why they should have beat Alabama besides their home environment was overwhelming for them.
And it was an afternoon
game,
too.
And it was week 1. And it was a noon game. There's a lot, but it was mainly the home crowd and the tomahawk chop and Bert Kreischer ripping his shirt off to fire up the troops. There's a lot that happened that game, and it was all due to the home crowd environment. They have a pretty intimidating environment there. I don't know what their rank is on the ESPN or the college football game, but it's probably top 5.
They do. I do think they're closer to a national championship as a program, both in terms of like how long it's been, and then I think their potential's very high. It depends what conference they're in too, though. That's the thing, because the problem with Florida is you're in the SEC, you're fighting not only Florida State and Miami for recruits, you're also fighting Georgia and Alabama and Notre Dame now, and Ohio State's coming in. Like, I think Florida, plus there's more losses on your Florida schedule, but Florida's probably got more money. I think they're better funded. You're in the SEC, so you know you're going to be able to pay athletes at least, and that's not a shot at SEC illegally paying athletes. I mean, this is going to be legal now. You're going to need to have money to do so. So I understand the argument. I tied them. I was just curious for your reasoning. I think Miami's probably the best job of the three, but that might get me in some trouble.
Well, then you also don't have a stadium that's on campus, and you have a very hard time getting kids to go to that game. You saw that Friday.
Sure, but...
Who called it, by the way? Who called it?
Allegedly.
This guy.
Here's the thing with Miami, though. You're right. Their fans suck in terms of being there consistently. But one, you're in the city of Miami, which is the biggest recruiting advantage anyone in Florida has, because that is where an obscene amount of talent comes from. And then two, you get to live in Miami rather than Tallahassee or Gainesville. So you want to talk about places that suck to live? I would imagine living in Miami is a bit more appealing.
You know what? I will give you this, but it's only good for another year or two, I think. If you might get lucky enough to share a class with a Bella Danger.
I don't know who that is.
You're one of the few men on the planet who don't.
All right, moving on. So yeah, Marcus Freeman's not leaving. I want you to bring up something that you had mentioned, playoff scenarios. You're thinking it might not be as clear-cut for Notre Dame as it looks. So what do you see there, Tim?
It is not. So the biggest problem is we have 12 teams ahead of us-ish. Or actually, you know what? Not even 12 teams ahead of us. There are about a total of 15 teams right now that have a shot at the playoffs. You can go up to 17 by conference championship affiliations and stuff like that. But none of them have tough schedules left. They're all pretty easy. You'll have some drop a game or two, but it's going to be really tight if we don't get some help and some bloodbaths and upsets and some funky stuff that goes on. Ohio State, their remaining schedule, bye week, Penn State at home, at Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, at Michigan. So they're probably going to win out until they go to Michigan. And then you never know because they've proved to prove me wrong every year. I believe they're going to win that game. Then you have Indiana. Indiana has UCLA, at Maryland, at Penn State, Wisconsin, at Purdue. Those are all, now that we know Penn State sucks, I mean, they should still be Indiana because they just have better talent, but they have no drive. No one wants to even be there anymore because it's in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. It kind of sucks. Texas A&M, they are at LSU. That's a tough one. They could lose that one. We don't want them to, but they could drop that one. Then at Missouri, South Carolina, Samford, not Stanford, Sam, like Yosemite Sam, and then at Texas. So they have the potential to drop two. They're not going to lose at Missouri, I don't think, but they could lose to LSU and Texas. Probably not Texas if they're at home because they're on the road. You never know. It's rivalry week, funky stuff. So we need Texas A&M to win out. That'd be ideal. The fact that they're even in contention to not do so, and they could risk us. If they win the SEC championship, we're great. Then we're definitely in. Otherwise, we're gonna be a bubble team, and it's gonna be up to the rest of these schedules. I'm gonna read out. Alabama's at South Carolina. Then they play LSU at home, Oklahoma at home. Then they have a real tough one this is the SEC schedule. I think Kurt Signetti was talking about. They play at home versus East Illinois in week 13 or whatever, and then they play at Auburn to close the season out. So they're gonna win out. Probably. So they're going to be in. So count Alabama as in. I'm actually going to write it down. I'm going to keep track of this. UGA. They have a bye this week. Then they play Florida. Then they play at Mississippi State, Texas, UNC Charlotte 49ers, a team that asked me if I wanted to play football there 10 years ago. So that's a win. That's probably easier than East Illinois. And then they play Georgia Tech at home or in their neutral site game, wherever that is. So I don't see them dropping one of those games, so they're in. Write them in. They'll play in the SEC championship game against probably Bama or A&M, and then you'll have 3 SEC teams again. So now we're down to math. Now we're down to 9 teams. All right, then you got Oregon. Origami has to play Wisconsin, win, at Iowa, win, Minnesota, win, USC, possibly a loss, and at Washington, possibly a loss. I think Oregon is a paper tiger. I don't think they're that good. I think that they kind of showed that when they lost to Indiana the way they did. But here's another potential chance where you have a team that if they win out, they are going to cause problems for us being one of the teams to get in there. Then you got Georgia Tech. They play Syracuse. They play at NC State. They play at BC. They play Pitt. They play Georgia. So they only have one loss left in the schedule, and that's Georgia. So, again, that's right. Go ahead and right. Then they have the ACC championship, but they already made a point. They're not kicking teams out if you lose your championship game, so they're in. Ole Miss. Ole Miss has South Carolina. Then they play the Citadel. Then they play Florida. Then they play Mississippi State. All these games at home. They only have the one loss. I don't see how they can drop in one of these games. So you're going to have a fourth SEC team possibly in these playoffs. Now you get to Miami. Thanks a lot for losing to Louisville. I know I called it, but again, these fans suck. They never show up. Less than $20 tickets. It was just brewed for an upset. All they have to do is just show up to these games and they win. They did not. So Miami, they play Stanford, win. At SMU, possibly trouble. Cuse, win. NC State, win. At Virginia Tech, win. At Pitt, should be a win. So they're going to finish no less than 10-2, probably, which means they're going to be in the ACC championship in a rematch against Louisville, which will be in Charlotte, North Carolina, and anything can happen there. It's right in between both schools. There's really no home field advantage, but we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and count them as in, though, because we already established the fact that they're not kicking teams out for losing their conference championship games. They were on the bubble last year, and they didn't get in. If they're on the bubble this year after they were in the top 5 for most of the year, I think they get in. Plus, they beat Notre Dame, so they have that tiebreaker over us. So that's trouble for us. Vandy. Vandy plays Missouri, at Texas, Auburn, Kentucky, and at Tennessee. Vandy has one loss. Good news is they're not a world beater like the other SEC teams I said, but I still don't see a loss in the remainder of the schedule. They're going to beat Missouri. They're probably going to beat Texas because Texas is just terrible. I don't know why we keep pretending or not. Auburn, not good. Kentucky, not good. Tennessee, maybe. So they might drop one of these games, but probably not. I'll go ahead and leave them off as they're guaranteed in because they're not guaranteed. Then you've got BYU, still undefeated. They've got at Iowa State, at Texas Tech, TCU, at Cincy, UCF. So they've got 3 road games left in their schedule, which is a lot, but I don't see a team that can knock them off besides Texas Tech. And if they drop a close one to Texas Tech, then they both might be in. They'll probably get a rematch in the championship game, and then they'll probably be in. I don't see them losing another game, though, so I'm going to go ahead and mark them as in. Now you've got Oklahoma. Oklahoma has Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Bama, Missouri, and LSU. They could lose to Ole Miss.
They're going to lose
to Tennessee. They could lose to Bama. They could lose to Missouri. They could lose to LSU. So they're probably out. So I'm going to go ahead and put them as out. Texas Tech. They've got Oklahoma State. We've established that aside from their T-shirts, they are not very threatening. Kansas State,
and also,
BYU.
One Big 12 team is going to get in, right?
Yes.
So
I think we could have 2. I think this could be the year they finally sneak in 2.
Well, and that's what we got to watch out for. Is we don't want 2. We want 1.
We're probably going to get 2 because I have BYU and I have Texas Tech in.
You're counting Missouri as a loss too much for my liking. I think they're a solid football team.
You know why they're a solid football team, Dylan? Hang on. Let me tell you why they're a solid football team.
Because they lost to Alabama by a field goal.
No. Let's take a look at their schedule, my friend. Because Buck wanted to talk smack about Notre Dame having so many home games in a row. Let me read to you the Missouri schedule so far this year, because no one's really noticed this until I did this week. Game 1, at home. Central Arkansas, at home. Game 2, Kansas, at home. Game 3, Louisiana, at home. Game 4, South Carolina, at home. Game 5, UMass, at home. Game 6, Alabama, at home, lost by 3. Game 7, they just went to Auburn. The first road game they had was the 7th game of the season. They went to Auburn and won in overtime. This week, they're playing at Vanderbilt. Then they play at Texas A&M at home and Mississippi State at home. They have 8 home games. The 7 of the first ones were all at home. That's insane. If you're a season ticket holder there, you definitely got your money's worth this year because that is so many home games. That's why they look so good. Is because they don't have to leave, and they still barely beat South Carolina by 9. They lost to Bama at home by 3. One they probably should have won. I don't know. You can't tell me Missouri's good. I just think that they have played paper tigers, not great teams, and they've been at home the entire time. So I'm going
Fair.
to keep dogging them.
They did play Alabama tight, but okay, go on.
I'm going to keep dogging them. But they also played at home. Did I say they played at home? They played at home. So now we have, out of the teams we have, of my hypotheticals here, we've got Ohio State in. We've got Bama in. That's 2. Georgia in. Georgia Tech in. Ole Miss in. Miami in. BYU in. Texas Tech in. And now we have 8 teams that are already in these playoffs based off this scenario. And then you have University of Virginia, who plays at UNC, at Cal, Wake Forest, at Duke, and Virginia Tech. So they're going to
lose now. They're gonna. This is college football. All these teams are going to lose again.
But everyone they're playing, you got to look at the schedules. They could drop any one of these games, but they should win every one of these games. And then you've got Louisville, who plays Boston College at Virginia Tech, Cal, Clemson, at SMU, Kentucky. So you have 3 ACC teams. You've got 4 SEC teams. You've got 2 Big 12 teams. And then what's the other one I'm missing? Oh, yeah, the Big 10. They've got at least 2 or 3 in there, too. So it's not as clear-cut as we think.
Notre Dame is in over 2-loss Louisville. They're in over 2-loss Georgia Tech.
It depends when the Louisville's second loss is.
Well, but
if it's the ACC championship
what
game,
wins do they have? I mean, Louisville has
Miami.
Okay, they have Miami. What does Georgia Tech have?
An undefeated
Who's
schedule.
Georgia Tech's? Yeah, but that's like they're going to have to run the table to get in probably. Maybe
and they
with
will.
1 loss. I don't know.
They'll lose the last week against Georgia.
Okay,
if that knocks them out.
Aside that, sure. But there's other games on their schedule where it's conceivable they drop one, right?
No. They play Syracuse at home. They play at NC State. They play at Boston College. They play Pitt at home. And then Georgia.
NC State is not an easy environment, and they're a decent team. And then Pitt is a pretty good team this year. They're 5-2.
Yeah, but again, who have they played? They did beat Florida State, though, who beat Bama. Mm-hmm. So technically, Pitt's better than Bama right now, right? That's how that works?
I think so.
Transfer properties. But the point is, it's not as easy as it should be. As easy as we keep winning, we're in, and we're gonna have that benefit of the doubt because we are Notre Dame with the name, and everyone wants to see Notre Dame back in the playoff. That's not a Notre Dame hater, so it's basically 50-50 in the world. We have that going for us.
I will say this too: it's a hard exercise for us to do because the playoff committee hasn't come out with their first rankings yet, so we don't know how far away from the top 12 we are. It's possible we're already in it. And if we're already in it, we'll probably stay in it.
Yes, if we're in it, we're in it.
The committee has new stats and I think new criteria to look at now. They have more stuff to look at, and Notre Dame is very obviously, according to almost every pundit out there, one of the teams that could win a national championship. Like if you just watch, Notre Dame is clearly one of the best teams in the country. Mm-hmm. I have a hard time thinking that's going to prevent us from getting in. Forget the rating stuff. I just think the way we're playing football is too good right now if we go undefeated the rest of the way. But I hear your point. It's not a given. You need college football to college football, and it's a good thing to bring up because we have to start monitoring it as we enter the late October, early November here, because it's going to be something that becomes a factor week in, week out. Again, under the assumption that we keep winning.
Yeah, and so I've got 10 teams that I've got marked in, like they should be in. They should win out, and they should be in. None of those teams are 2-loss teams that I've listed. So we need everyone to start dropping games in order for us to be the best-looking 2-loss team in the country. And then you also have the conference championship games. So you're going to have either USF or maybe North Texas or Navy. I think they're going to come out of that conference, whoever the G5 champion is. I think it's going to be USF because they've been pretty good all year. USF at Memphis, they play at noon on ESPN2 this Saturday. Keep an eye on that. USF is favored by 4.5. We would like to see, I guess if we're going to have one in there, it would be USF because they lost to Miami. And if they're in there, then Miami beat them and makes Miami look better, which makes us look better. But of the group of 5 teams, if it's not Navy, we want USF.
Yeah, I also think, too, the Big 12 cannibalizes itself because they're all equally terrible in that conference.
They do. They absolutely do.
So I think it's very conceivable BYU or Texas Tech have 2 to 3 losses and only one of them can get. I think that's still a possibility.
Yep.
I don't want to say it's likely, but I think it's a strong possibility.
Oh, absolutely.
Big Ten wise, you got Ohio State's going to get in. Indiana's going to get in at this point unless something weird happens.
I got something weird that could happen. We'll get to it.
Oregon's going to get in unless USC beats them. So, and that's the thing. If USC goes 10-2, Tim, Notre Dame's got to head-to-head over USC, and that would help us out because
my
USC
head ball should be my uncle.
Well, I don't know. I think they do have a tough schedule. They got to play at Nebraska. They got Iowa at home. They got to go to a pesky UCLA team. I think that's on the road.
Can you go back to that first game you said?
They played us on the road
at Nebraska.
At Nebraska.
Yeah, they still haven't won this. They still haven't won on this side of the Mississippi since 2011.
True, but Nebraska can't win a close game to save their lives. So I would like USC in that one. That's gonna be a good game for the next week. But yeah, there's still that opportunity. Boise State could win the MAC. Navy could win the AAC and become that team, or at least be in that conversation. So you would have quality wins there. And then, of course, Miami could still win the ACC. Texas A&M could win the SEC. So I think Notre Dame's resume is going to be fine. But to your point, some of these teams got to lose.
Here's the nightmare scenario: is Louisville and UVA win out, and then they play in the championship game because Miami would not have that tiebreaker criteria.
Yeah.
And then Miami's the 10-2 or 11-1 team or 10-2 team that's on the bubble again. And I don't see how you can keep them out of the playoff if they've been in the top 5 the entire year.
Yeah. All right. We got one mailbag question, Tim. This is a great discussion. We're going to keep having them as the weeks go by and we get closer to college football playoff. One mailbag question just for this week because in the interest of time here, we're going to do another podcast, obviously previewing our next game. From Kenneth Jones. Kick off with Kenneth, maybe my favorite Twitter account out there for college football history. If you're a nerd or if you're a romantic for the sport, follow Kenneth. With all the coaching talk, how about this question? Who, if anyone, would you trade Marcus Freeman for? Any living person, retired or otherwise, with a guarantee that they'll say yes and stay. And he has a bad feeling we're going to talk about Nick Saban, which is exactly my answer. It's probably the only coach I would take over Marcus Freeman that's alive right now.
I don't know because the recruiting in the NIL era of the transfer portal have changed the game as far as what Nick Saban is used to. So I think he got out at the right time to remain the GOAT. But who else would you rather have than Marcus Freeman, man?
Kirby Smart?
Maybe. I'm also thinking probably I'd go straight to the NFL. Someone that's really good up there. Obviously not Belichick. That's a no.
That's the thing. If you go pro, you gotta find the right fit.
You gotta find someone with energy. Like I like Andy Reid as a coach, but he's just old. Doesn't connect with the players.
Maybe Sean McVay could be a good college coach.
Yeah, who's the Miami head coach?
I don't know if I like him more than Freeman though.
I mean, if you want to do lines in the bathroom, he's your guy. Allegedly.
And by lines, of course, you mean memorization for the upcoming exams and midterms. Yes.
Yep. Memorize those lines like an actor. Yep.
To me, in the college game, it would be Nick Saban or possibly Kirby Smart. I don't think Urban is the guy anymore for us. If I could go dead, I would definitely take some people. I mean, does prime Lou Holtz count? I mean, I'm not sure if Lou Holtz can keep up with today's reality.
Reality only.
Well, Lou Holtz is alive, to be fair. Shockingly, he looks like he's 1,000 years old, but he is alive. I love him, by the way. Lou, if you're listening by chance, I'm sorry. I do love you.
I wish I could do the Boston Connor impression of Lou Holtz just for this moment, but I cannot.
It's a good impression to have in your back pocket if you can pull it out.
It's a fantastic impression.
Dan Patrick did a great one of it years ago that you guys should go out and find because it's pretty funny.
You know what? That's my coach, Pat McAfee.
Yeah. Oh, get out of here.
He'll connect with every kid.
I don't care for him very much.
I know you don't, but he is very entertaining.
It's very performative to me. I don't buy it.
That's what he is. He's a punter. What do you want from him?
I want him to punt and shut the fuck up.
Oh, he doesn't punt anymore. He could punt some questions away. That's about it.
Yeah, I remember I had an old Madden game like 06 or something, and he was in it. That's my memory of Pat McAfee. I can't believe that guy is like the most famous commentator now. I don't hate him. I just, he just doesn't do it for me.
He is hilarious. I especially loved it when he got stunned by Stone Cold in the WrestleMania. That was awesome. I really don't know who I would hire as a head coach. Maybe Kurt Signetti, because he apparently can. But he's more of like a lifter.
Of you to say that.
He's not that's the thing. He's not like a I have a good program coach. He's I'm going to build him up and then move on coach. He's not. I don't know. I really have no idea who you would want. Like, maybe... Oh, I'm going to shut up. I'm not going to finish that sentence. I'm going to finish that sentence so that way y'all can make fun of me for what I was just thinking. If you could give everything on this roster right now, everything stays the same, and the recruiting stays... It wouldn't. All right, maybe we would get 1 or 2 years chance here. He could leave when he's done. But if we got Brian Kelly back for like 1 or 2 years in this roster, I think
Shut
maybe...
up. Shut the fuck up. He doesn't win big games.
But he hasn't had the talent that this team has had.
Oh, as if he's had plenty of talent. Maybe not as much as this team.
Not like this.
Maybe not as much as this team. But that 2015 and 2017 Notre Dame teams were really good, especially the 2015 team with Deshaun Kaiser on it. I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know. I'm not here for that one.
I can't think of a coach. I'm just throwing names out there.
If you're listening, Tim is on Twitter. If you want to give him your hate mail for that ridiculous answer there, that Brian Kelly would be the guy.
Send it in.
I can't believe that. All right, Tim. Let's talk Week 9 picks. I got to take a quick look here at how we did from last week. Let's see. We all took Georgia. Coaches. Georgia won. Georgia Tech beat Duke. Vanderbilt beat LSU. Alabama beat Tennessee. Utah lost. So I had a great week. I went 5-1. But you had an okay week. So we're competitive in this game. It's been really close.
What do you mean I had an okay week? Don't leave me hanging. What'd I do?
You went 2-4.
Yeah,
Georgia and Notre Dame won.
Lost the house, that's all.
Well, it could have been worse. I don't have the time to do the spread live on air, but it was a decent week. We're all well above 500 straight up, and against the spread, we're all kind of around 500. Although Steve's got like this weird knack for being above 500 for against the spread pretty consistently. Yeah, I don't know if he had a great week this week, but that happens from time to time. So let's talk Week 9, Tim. What are some big games this week that the people need to know, and what are we picking?
There are a lot of big games, but the ones that we're going to stick with are... The first one, we just want to go down one at a time?
Yep.
All right, so
Give
the
us
first
the line
one,
as well.
We have Missouri at Vanderbilt. Missouri on the road for only the second time this year. Vanderbilt is favored 2.5, which usually means that the pickers think this will be an even game. It's at 3:30 on ESPN, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Vandy's going to smoke them because Missouri is not good.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know if it'll be a smoking, but I think Vanderbilt's really good. I think Clark Lee is one of the better head coaches in college football. I think Pavia, their quarterback, is on my short list to win the Heisman. If it's not Jeremiah Love, I think he is a top candidate. I think Mendoza at Indiana is really good. Ty Simpson to a lesser extent, but those are my candidates. I'm with you. I'm taking Vanderbilt as well. I'll take them to cover, and that's pretty much it. Missouri, I'm higher than you are, but I think Vandy gets it done at home.
All right. And for our next game, we don't have Steve's picks, do we?
No, we do not. We'll get them there on the graphic this week.
And for our next pick, now I just minimized it because I'm an idiot. For our next pick, we have BYU at Iowa State. Iowa State is favored 2.5 points, 3:30 game on Fox. So BYU at Iowa State. Iowa State had high hopes for me in the beginning of the year. They had the Pop-Tarts in Ireland danced around, and they gave me kind of hope. They're favored 2.5, but BYU continues to win, and Iowa State continues to decline. So I think BYU is going to win and cover.
I'm going to take BYU. I think BYU... I like to take a home underdog. Or, not that ISU is a home underdog, but it's a home team in a close line. I just really impressed from what I saw from BYU against Utah. I think they're maybe better than I'm giving them credit for. So I'm going to take BYU. And can you remind me again who you took, Tim?
I took BYU to win and cover.
All right, so we both got that the same. So 2 for 2 right now on going the same, Tim. What do we got up next?
This one is the one we will all be watching. It is Texas A&M at Big Game Brian Kelly's LSU. Texas A&M is favored 2.5 points. It is a 7:30 game on ABC. I want Texas A&M to win with all my heart, and I think they could win. but Brian Kelly's seat has never been hotter in his entire career. This is the hottest his seat has ever been. I don't know if this is what he needs to win a big game, his job on the line, because he is kind of selfish. But I also like Mike Elko. I think he's an elite coach. I think he's a better coach than Brian Kelly. The pieces, I think, are in LSU's favor. The home team's in LSU's favor. The night kickoff is in LSU's favor. The cult is on Texas A&M's favor, and they're going to do some cult things. Give me Texas A&M to win, LSU to cover, because that's what Brian Kelly does.
Wow. You had me there, I'm not going to lie. I'm unfortunately going to take LSU. I think this is going to be another hit to Notre Dame's playoff resume. LSU struggles offensively. Texas A&M doesn't have the best defense in the world. I'm more impressed by their offense. And LSU has a pretty solid defense. They're at home. They got a good quarterback. The environment is going to be big. I'm going to take LSU. I mean, I hope you're right, Tim. I hope you're right, but I'll take LSU here.
I'm wish casting like I normally do. This is why I went 2-4 last week. And for our next loss, we have UCLA at Indiana. Indiana is favored a close 25.5 points. This is a big noon kickoff on Fox.
Yeah, so we're taking this one for what reason? Like, why is this a game this week?
You want to know why? Because I picked it. Because UCLA right now has one of the best conference records in the Big Ten. They have not lost a game in the Big Ten. They are going to go undefeated in the Big Ten, and they're going to win the Big Ten championship, and it starts or continues this week. UCLA is going to beat Indiana at Indiana because Indiana is a paper tiger, and UCLA has found some balls. Mark my words.
Despite the spread, I do like this game because UCLA is kind of a funny one. They're 3-4, but they're 3-1 in the Big Ten. Like they,
yeah, 3-1. Sorry,
they're legit in the Big Ten competition. They're pretty memey. They fired their coach. Their offensive coordinator is hilarious. I really dig what they got going on there. They've got a really good offense, especially with that coach behind the offensive coordinator making the play calls. They're really rallying behind him. Indiana's going to win this game, but I will take UCLA to cover 25.5. I just think that's a lot, and with a team that can score points the way UCLA can, I think they'll cover that. So, good call, but I'll have to disagree with you.
You go ahead. Be wrong. One of us got to be right. And for our final game, by the way, for the listeners at home, you didn't see us picking a 25.5 point spread for a game that was interesting with all the other ones out there, but I got my say, and when I get what I want, I'm a happy little girl. Speaking of happy little girls, we have Michigan at Michigan State. A whole bunch of little girls, all giddy and ready for their little teams to do their little thing in the Big Ten that no one cares about because it will suck, and then everyone's gonna be any kind of national picture. Michigan is favored 14.5, and it is a 7:30 kickoff on NBC, also on the cock.
Love it.
I hate picking this game. I hate everything about both these teams. I hate one more than the other. I did see Michigan lose at USC. I did see Michigan State lose at everyone. I think Michigan is a fraudulent program. Disappointing. But I also know Michigan State is way worse. So give me Michigan, but Michigan State to cover because they won't get embarrassed. Yeah, they might. They might. Yeah, but I'm going to say they might.
This is a rivalry where anything can happen in these games. And Michigan certainly isn't as good as they used to be. Michigan State is a bit of a dumpster fire at the moment. Just things aren't really clicking there. I don't know what the problems are. But I'm with you exactly on this. I think Michigan's going to win, but I think Michigan State's going to cover 14.5. I think it might be a surprisingly competitive game. It's one I expect Michigan to win. But here's the thing. Michigan's a one-dimensional team, right? They run the ball, and that's kind of it. Bryce Underwood's talented, but they don't really use the passing attack too much. Defensively, they're good, but not as good as they've used to be. So where this is in East Lansing at night, both teams are not what they were. I could see Michigan State pulling off the upset. I'm going to be a coward, and I'll take Michigan, but Michigan State to cover. So we're in agreement there, Tim.
All right.
Well, that wraps it up, folks.
Well, let's just name some games off for the people at home, Notre Dame fans. These are the games that you want to watch this week. You've got Ole Miss at Oklahoma. You want Oklahoma to win that game because then they'll lose the rest of their games, and Ole Miss could win the rest of theirs. You want USF to beat Memphis because I said so. You want South Carolina to beat Bama. That's at 3:30. These are all going by time slots, by the way, so those first two were noon. This is 3:30. You want Washington to beat Illinois just because it'll knock them out. That's at 3:30. You want Arizona State to beat Houston because that knocks Houston out because they're both looking pretty tasty right now. You want Cuse to beat Georgia Tech. It won't happen. That's at noon. But you really want, and when I say you really want Virginia to lose to UNC because that brings us all back into picture. Ask for ACC, Miami on their way to an ACC championship. Those are the games to watch.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim. This is a short one this week on a bye. But just enjoy the victory, Notre Dame fans. We beat our bitter rival once again. 10 of the last 13. 7 of the last 8, I believe. Notre Dame is running away with this one, and USC is running away from this series. So I think with that said, it's a perfect note to leave it on. From all of us here at the Four Horsemen, give us a nice follow at Horseman Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky. We appreciate you guys reaching out to us. We love interacting with you, and we will see you next week. Go Irish.
Go Irish. Beat the bye week.